I've met at animal sanctuaries have shown me what strength and resilience truly mean. I have seen baby cows that have just been rescued from a dairy farm. When they first arrive at a sanctuary, they are shaken, disturbed, terrified of human beings, and understandably so. I've seen so many birds arrive who have been treated like objects, who have never seen the sun, who come in practically featherless. There are chickens who can't even hold their heads up, who have awful prolapses from mass egg production. I've seen ex-racehorses, terrified, skittish of every noise or movement. As we are all aware by now, the abuse that these animals go through is countless, and the victims and individuals broken in body and spirit are endless. But the beauty of sanctuaries, of these safe spaces, is the healing. Day by day, week by week, month by month, progress is made and you can witness the recovery, physical and mental improvements. The cows become curious and affectionate instead of shaken and afraid. The birds grow back their feathers. At sanctuaries, animals are able to live out their natural lifespans. They can make friends with each other, and families are able to live together, mothers, fathers, and even grandparents, all living together with their babies in a massive family unit. No crates, no racks, no restraint, and plenty of space. Animals are able to grow old. They can live in peace without the threat of death or torture. This is rehabilitation, and this is the future. We can and we will liberate these animals, but we must also love them, care for them, create and support the places for the survivors to go. This is the end game, to have sanctuaries instead of slaughterhouses. So we must support them. And there are many ways that we can support them. You can donate, you can volunteer, you can visit. And as a volunteer, you can do whatever you're physically capable of, whatever is needed to be done. To volunteer at a sanctuary is to maintain the well-being of the residents. And it is an absolute joy to give back to the animals, to connect with them, bond with them, let them inspire your activism. And you can visit and donate. The more animals that are rescued and the busier that the sanctuaries get, the more mouths that need to be fed, the more funds that are required to keep the sanctuaries running day to day. A majority of sanctuaries are open to the public with open days, free entry. Some have cafes or even merchandise. And the easiest way you can support them is by visiting them and just putting a £5 in the donation pot. Or if you can't visit, by sponsoring an animal, donating monthly. Every penny really does help, because sanctuaries have to provide a safe environment for their residents. They have to pay expensive, extortionate veterinary treatment costs. They have to pay for equipment, for everyday running costs, basics like water, electric, straw and hay. And if you can't donate, then encourage others to and share their pages and share their open days. Encourage others to do so. For some, including myself, money is a horrible thing, and unfortunately, we are living under a system that deems money to be necessary. And right now, running an animal sanctuary requires money. But we must support the sanctuaries and the animals with whatever money that we can, by donating our personal money or even fundraising for them. Because a lot of us will spend money on vegan festivals, on cakes, t-shirts, bags, cosmetics, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't attend these events or buy these things for ourselves, but our priorities should be with the animals. We should be making the animals central to our lives as vegans and as activists.
Woo, absolutely.
And you know, one thing that I hear a lot is that in this capitalistic world that we live in, the most effective way that we vote and can be active is with our wallets. Mainstream veganism is just that. It's about supply and demand, refusing to spend money on products or companies that profit off of an animal's death or suffering. Veganism is a moral baseline for the animals, and veganism has become very popular, which is great, of course, but like most things that become popular, it has become a hotbed for consumerism and for capitalism. You cannot walk down any high street without finding t-shirts, makeup bags, journals, stationery, flouting the vegan brand. Because that's what veganism is turning into. It's a brand, it's a lifestyle, a label to be profited off of. A slogan that anyone can jump onto and sell. Companies that don't even have any animal-centric, vegan or environmentally friendly ideals will rush to create merchandise and plant-based food options, even though they don't believe or even understand what they're selling you. So what I'm attempting to say is that we should not be distracted by this, by the merchandise, by the material things. We should use our wallets, and we can, but where it is most productive. If you want food or merch, you can get it at a sanctuary or a local group or collective that raise money for liberation. Sanctuaries that sell merchandise and food, all of that money goes directly to rehabilitating the survivors of the animal agriculture industries. There are local charities, collectives, groups, they sell their own merchandise, and all of that money goes directly towards animal liberation, whether it be through education or direct action. We can be vegan with pride, and we can fight for liberation with pride, but we must be proud of the movement itself and not just the label. The animals need your money, your time, and your support more than any profit-centric business does. You can be active, you can enjoy the merchandise and the food, and you can connect with your community. But we must keep the animals central to our everyday choices, our decisions, and at the heart of our activism. So as we mobilise and stand together in solidarity today, we fight to educate, we fight to disrupt, to sabotage, and to break chains. But we also fight for the future of liberation, for the future of our fellow non-human animals. We have an ongoing fight against speciesism. So when you pick up your leaflets, your placards, your megaphones, your ribbons, your stickers, your chalk, whatever it is that you use for your activism, think about also picking up a pitchfork or a shovel, a bag of food, some straw, some hay, and volunteering at your local animal sanctuary. Whether or not you even visit, please consider donating some money and sharing their pages and supporting them. This movement is about the animals and for the animals. Connect with them, work with them, fight for them, and support the places that allow them to live in peace. There are those who dedicate their entire lives to these sanctuaries, these safe havens, working all around the clock to give the animals the life that they deserve. And I want to sign off by saying a huge thank you to these individuals that work tirelessly to ensure the safety of our fellow non-human animals. So please search the Retreat Animal Sanctuary, Huglet, Friend Animal Sanctuary, they've us all. Go and see how you can support them and volunteer. Thank you for the animals.
I just want to start by saying I'm really happy to see you all here today. You're all amazing for being here. I know that sounds tacky, but it's true. I want to share my poetry. I want to start by saying that if you want to, because I'll forget at the end, if you want to follow me on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, it's Eco-Friendly Vegan Geek. So I was in California a year and a half ago, and I joined in with activism there, and I wrote a poem about something that happened. So I'm going to start off with that one. It's called Eden. I had an amazing day while staying in the bay. I went to a vigil with the animal saved. One young live hen to us they gave. The slaughterhouse does not hide much, so close to the killing machine we could almost touch. So many hens crammed into each crate, about to meet their horrific fate. Seeing them suffer made me feel sick, each hen barely older than a chick. From hearing their screams, my heart broke. Grabbed by the throat, they would nearly choke. Amazingly, we were given a hen, on the condition we would leave right then. She was terrified and stressed, although out of the lot, her luck was the best. We took the young girl to a park in the sun, So far in her life, she had the most fun. Gradually, she became chilled. This whole experience made me incredibly thrilled. To kill these beautiful beings is a sin. We named the hen Eden after the park we were in. As I stroked Eden's head, I looked into her eye. A magical moment, now she would not die. I could see in her eyes she was so full of life. My heart pounded with joy for she'd escaped the knife. We showed Eden how it feels to be loved, rather than in a hellhole, just being shoved. We took Eden to a sanctuary nearby. Unsurprisingly, at first, she seemed shy. The animals were all happy and free. It was truly special to see.
Against the machine that keeps society running, that there is no hope. We have forgotten the power within ourselves, the power that we all own and submit to society in an attempt to make things better. What isn't an easy task is remembering how strong we are when we start acting. Once we give that first step, we are unstoppable. What are you waiting for to take your power back? It has happened before. Nothing lasts forever. From empires to civilizations, the human species has managed to bring down the system consistently, one time after the other. This time we have even more leverage than before. We do not have enough time to keep waiting. We have an even bigger task. We aren't just fighting to change the political system in place, but to shake the foundations of society itself. With Earth screaming for help, wild species becoming extinct faster than ever before, and with the highest number of exploited animals in the history of the planet. Systematic change needs to happen fast and needs to shake all oppression at once. Let's not allow the system to make us think we can't do it. Let's not allow corporations to convince us there is a green capitalist alternative. Let's not give up our power. Make today the day you stand up alongside known and unknown comrades and push, not just walk, towards actual change. Look around you. We are enough people to loot a supermarket, to raid a lab, to stop a mine. The only thing that stops us is believing it isn't possible. What are you waiting for? So take back that power you once gave up. Take it back whilst showing others that they are powerful. Stand up, push back. Do not wait one more second before you start the fight for liberation. Make it today that you start. Make it today and not tomorrow, because finding an excuse to not go fight back today will be the catalyser for another excuse tomorrow. Make it today that you start the revolution. We have been waiting long enough. We have protested the use of animals as commodities. We have asked for regulations to be put in place. We have waved banners. We have done solidarity actions. We have signed petitions. We have shouted loud, and we have not been heard. We have shown the public horrors that happen inside of sheds, hoping for change. But we have forgotten that change does not simply happen. We have to make it happen. So today, we make it happen by not holding back, by empowering animals with their already existing liberatory agency, by smashing one by one all the industries that exploit them, us, and the planet. Make today the day the system starts shaking. Make today the day they feel the fear of change. Make today the day windows send shouts of liberation. Make today the day you face the system and say, we are not willing to wait any longer. Thank you.
We're from Brighton's chapter of Direct Action Everywhere, and as individuals we take part in a range of different activism, but under Direct Action Everywhere we focus on disruption in order to challenge the system of speciesism and the social norms in place to excuse the exploitation and abuse of animals. So we're going to be saying a few words about the importance of disruption in the animal rights movement, and then we're going to talk about why activism that makes vegans look bad is okay.
Yeah, we currently focus our activism on disruptions. We enter locations of violence and speak out against the suffering occurring. We get a lot of criticism for this, such as things like, you won't make people go vegan by shouting at them. You're turning people away from veganism. The best way to get someone to go vegan is through education and being nice to them. I agree, the best way to get someone to go vegan is through education and being nice to them. But that's not what we are trying to do. We'll be explaining the system behind this form of activism to you today. I ask you now to turn your focus away from veganism, the lifestyle that excludes as far as possible products that exploit animals, and towards speciesism, which is the assumption of human superiority that leads to the exploitation and mistreatment of non-human animals. Speciesism, largely comparable to other forms of social oppression, such as racism, which is the assumption of superiority of a certain race over another, leading to the exploitation and mistreatment of a certain race, and sexism, another form of discrimination. Our focus is not on turning individual people vegan, but on challenging a system that thrives off of speciesism, to the point where the vast majority of people are confused when simply confronted with the idea that non-human animals are victims, that forcibly breeding them, putting them in a farm, separating them from their families, just to eventually slit their throat and put them on a shelf for someone to purchase as a packaged object to eat and forget about, is not grounds for them to be considered a victim, because that is just the way things are. But that is not just the way things are, because whilst most people have been programmed to think that animals' body parts packaged on a shelf is normal, those of us who are anti-speciesists see this as horrifying, just like we would if they were body parts from a human. We are here to demonstrate to people that many of us do not see this as normal, and our protests are designed to help break down a system based on the unnecessary use and mistreatment of animals. We are ordinary people who feel the need to help animals and fight for their rights that have been taken away from them. Exactly the same as if a shop opened up that was selling the flesh of cats and dogs.
Many with broken bodies that need rehabilitation, which is hour by hour work. How does it make sense that we can champion individuals so much but forget about those that behind the scenes are fighting for those that we are creating change for? They deserve our attention, love, recognition and support. Next time you want to donate, make sure you give it to who needs it most. So I want to start with a statement that has become so prevalent in the movement, it has caused complacency. I don't care why someone goes vegan as long as they do. Now, I'm sure everyone here at some point has probably said it, and some people sitting here may still think it, and I can fully understand why you would. However, when we see one of these ridiculous "why I'm no longer" videos of one of these narcissistic vegan bloggers, why can we be so annoyed when we're prepared to make a statement like we didn't care why they went vegan in the first place? We normally say things like, how can they go back to eating animals after being told the truth? The problem is, what exactly was that truth initially? When someone has decided to go vegan or plant-based based on a selfish choice of personal health or social media trend, were they ever really into it for the animals?
No one is the saviour of this movement. We just need them to be free. I don't speak for them. We're not their voice. They have their own. Or are we not listening? Their screams are ignored. And that is what's most sickening. And you know what's so frustrating? All this bickering and online hating. You're doing it wrong, I'm doing it right, and the real objective is out of sight. We don't have to agree on the path as long as it's total liberation, and we don't all have to hold hands to tackle this exploitation. Fighting about whose way is the best? This is a joke. Put your own ideas to the test. That's your only real vote. Because doing something is better than zero. Because remember, going vegan doesn't make you a hero. I'm glad you're vegan, but you're just no longer partaking in violence. It doesn't excuse your silence. It doesn't mean animals still aren't screaming and fighting for their lives, beating and bleeding. For what? Simply existing and breathing? Are we going to sit down and allow this to continue? Or are you going to find the activist within you? You can always do what resonates and follow your intuition. But stop comparing what they're doing. This is not a competition. There's an activist inside all of us. You and you and you and you. Stop waiting for someone else. We all are capable of sharing truth. The world will never change its ways while we're waiting for a hero to do it. It's time to be our own heroes. Time to step up and pursue it. Forget the rules, we don't need them. There's no hierarchy in freedom. If people are looking for someone to lead them, they've already given up their freedom. Don't do it for money. Don't do it for fame. Don't do it so people will know your name. Don't play that game. Just be honest and true. Do what you came here to do. Remember when you saw the cruelty and suffering and how it made you feel? Never forget that feeling. Never forget that's real. Never forget that was 5 minutes for us, but that is their every day. Never excuse their exploitation and never downplay it. Never forget the bigger purpose. Why we feel such sympathy. We are here for them in service and to bring about more empathy, to keep exposing the truth, no matter what anyone says, to never give up on their freedom, even though others may say they don't care. Some may push us, yes, some may tease us, but they will never, ever seize us. They will never take away what leads us, because we fight for what we know is right, whether we do this in the day or night. We put aside our fear and fright, and we bring the darkness into light. Thank you.